Obsentum, pentru cine este curios să simtă unele dintre cele mai speciale și exclusiviste parfumuri din România, îl invităm să dea o fugă până în Molbăneasa.
Credeți-ne, experiențele olfactive sunt unice. Noi avem un material pregătit pentru voi chiar de la deschiderea oficială a magazinului de parfumerie de nișă Obsentum. Acolo unde puteți găsi cele mai surprinzătoare esențe și ingrediente, materiale prețioase, detalii confecționate manual și sticle de parfumuri pe care le-ai putea folosi ca obiecte decorative.
Și tot acolo l-am întâlnit și pe Sergio Momo, unul dintre cei mai în vogă parfumieri de lux italieni ai momentului, invitat special la acest eveniment.
Așa că fiți cu ochii pe următorul material pentru a afla chiar de la fondatorul și directorul creativ al casei de parfumerie de nișă Zerjov o groază de lucruri interesante despre fascinanta lume a esențelor tari.
How did your passion for perfumes begin? Because I know your whole passion was design. It always was your passion. You're a designer. You have a serious background as a designer. But how did you discover perfumes?
Well, in reality, perfume has always been a passion, but design was a work. So still, you kind of operate in an artistic environment, okay? So after more than 20 years of design in Italy, UK, in America, I had some kind of a free time and I want to do something for myself. So I never intended to do this. There was no business plans whatsoever, and it was just that kind of, little bit of free time to do something for myself, for my family, for my friends, or whatever. Then sometimes, as it happens, you present whatever you do to the right person, and they say, "Well, make it happen," and I never stopped since then.
So it started as a hobby, and it turned into something incredible. Did you see this coming? Not even a bit. The success, the huge success.
No. I didn't see this coming. It just happened, and it happened so quickly. He's now 13 years, but it just went like this. So it's very, very fast.
I'm very curious about something. Your perfumes are not only special by the way they smell, the fragrances you use, but also by the design of the bottles. How do you create the design of the bottles? What do you have in mind?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, perfume is not just a perfume. Yeah, it's a multisensorial object. So the design, the material, obviously the smell, are all things that have to merge together. So you cannot separate them. So the presentation of a work of art needs to come inside another work of art. That's how perfume has always been. In the 17th century, 18th century, very famous perfume brands, together with maybe glass designer or glass brand or producer, they always merge together. So it was always meant to be a work of art. It was only in the recent year that everything becomes, easily available, cheap, and unisex. But we wanted to bring back the perfumery as an art as it was at the beginning.
Okay, and now I have to ask you, because one of my favorite stories, not only my favorite perfumes, is the one for your shooting star. So I want to ask you to please tell our viewers the story, even if it's a short one. It's amazing.
I'll try to make it short. You know that the two main elements of Sergio are Italian craftsmanship and nature, because our perfume are based on natural elements. So everything has to be evolving around these two particular elements. In order to be a little bit more open and creative, I actually started to investigate on something which was not natural but not belonging to the earth. So the sky, obviously everything that you had to study in order for the star, of course, which is absolutely. So shooting stars are simply piece of stars which actually are landing on the earth. So the idea all came to wrapped around this concept, but I really wanted to make it just more than an idea. So inside every box there is a real piece of star with a certificate. So basically the message is that the stars are actually closer than you think. Yeah, you can. So it's a little game, but it's a real game. So it's a real piece of star. So I think it's a real connection with nature.
Oh, it's amazing. How did you choose the fragrances and ingredients for this perfume?
Well, working on perfumery is a kind of a non-stop exercise. So every day on my desk there are different kind of proposals coming from different parts of the world, and if they don't come, I'm going to look for them. So it's not something that you can. It's not a kind of a 9-to-5 job. It's something that is keep rolling all year round. So whenever I find some kind of something that is interested, I put it on a side, because it's not just a matter of a perfume, but it's a matter of creating a story as well. So when there is the right story, the right inspiration, the right elements, then the game is actually to put everything together.
How does the creation process go on usually? I mean, from the moment that there's an idea inside your head and until the moment there's the bottle inside of a store.
Well, if the idea develops in the right way, in the right direction, then it could take 1 year, 1.5 years. Sometimes it's much longer. Sometimes it's put on a side. Actually, most of the time it's put on a side, and then when the right time comes, then you bring it back. So it's like, you know, it's like a messy table. You have a lot of things going on. Some of them they go faster, some of them they go slower, but everything is in there. It's like a painting, you know. I mean, you can start sketching different kind of ideas, then you finish a painting, and then you have other things to go on with. But when you find inspiration, then you go and you finish it. So it's not something that starts and finishes. It's never finished. It's a kind of a developing attitude process. Correct? Yes.
Okay, and one curiosity I've got: has your career and your work as a perfumer affected your everyday smells?
Basically, what's happened is that your nose and your mind is trained to pick up more and more different kind of facets, smells, odors, and so on. So yes, I think that when you judge a place, judge anything that is around you, you're not judging it. You're not just judging by the look of it or the feel, but you also judge it by the smell. So this is very important. So it's one of the senses that is developed much further than usual. So when you travel, different ambience and olfactive memories is something which, yes, it does affect your attitude a little bit, yes.
Okay, and now I want to ask you, what do you think about Obsentum here in Romania? Do you think it's the right place for your brands to be?
Oh, absolutely. Well, first of all, let me tell you that Sergio has been in Romania for many years. Actually, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was the third or the fourth market 10-20 years old to enter, Sergio to enter. So the Romanian market has always been very receptive on niche. And that is because obviously of the cultural base that this country has and many other factors. I think that today is very important because something like that is not usual. It doesn't really happen in many places around the world. Like I was saying before, is the concept, the execution, is the fact that every brand in the portfolio has its own corporate space, but at the same time they all follow the corporate design. And I think that they just create an environment which is really pleasant, with giving the right space to every brand, which is very important, because once you step in, then it's down to you to decide which corner you want to visit, which experience you want to have. It's not overwhelming, it's relaxed. It's a kind of a consultancy ambient, which is exactly how we want it to be.
Beautiful. Okay, and one last question, I promise. I know it's a cliche, but if you should take just one of your perfumes on an empty island, which one would it be and why?
It would be the next one.
And why?
Because the novelties and the next creation is always the most exciting one. So is the continuous research will make us going.
I was reading Antigone and being struck by how large a sacrifice Antigone made for the honor of her brother and for the honor of her family. To bury her brother when it was expressed